Absolutely. Here's the complete, full-length audiobook script for Chapter 4. Detachment is power. Repetition phrase, it's not coldness, it's clarity. You've been told to care, to feel deeply, to react quickly. That's the trap. Because when you react instantly, you lose instantly. When you let every emotion take the wheel, you stop driving your own life. Detachment isn't cold, it's control. It's not about being heartless. It's about having a heart that doesn't break every time the world shakes. It's not coldness, it's clarity. What detachment really means. People confuse detachment with indifference. They think it means you don't care. They're wrong. Detachment means you care, but you don't collapse. You feel everything, but you obey nothing. You watch the storm without drowning in it. You hear the noise without losing your focus. You love without losing yourself. That's power. That's maturity. That's detachment. You can't control what happens, but you can control how close it gets to your peace. And that's the game. That's how you win. Emotional fasting. Let's talk about emotional fasting. Fasting means you take a break from consuming. You let your system reset. You clear the toxins. Emotional fasting is the same, but for your mind. You stop reacting for a while. You stop feeding every feeling that shows up. You let emotions pass without swallowing them whole. You observe before you absorb. That's how clarity returns. That's how peace returns. You don't chase every thought. You don't answer every trigger. You don't let every emotion turn into a decision. That's detachment. It's emotional fasting. And it's the habit of strong people. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The 24-hour discipline. Let me give you a rule, a discipline that will change everything. It's called the 24-hour discipline. Whenever you feel an intense emotion, anger, jealousy, sadness, anxiety, don't react. Don't post. Don't reply. Don't decide. Wait 24 hours. If it still matters a day later, address it. If it doesn't, it never did. You have no idea how many mistakes people make in the heat of emotion. How many bridges they burn that never needed to burn. How many apologies they owe that they could have avoided. A single moment of restraint saves a lifetime of regret. That's the key. You don't need to prove how you feel. You don't need to defend your reaction. You just need to pause. You win by waiting. You rise by resisting. The 24-hour discipline turns chaos into wisdom. Because when you pause, you let emotion settle. And when the emotion settles, truth appears. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The science of space. Here's what happens when you detach. You create space. And space is where wisdom lives. Space between what happens and how you respond. Most people have no space. An insult hits, they react. A rejection hits, they panic. A delay happens, they spiral. They live on impulse, and impulse destroys peace. But when you build that tiny gap, that breath, that pause, you become untouchable. You start to see what's real and what's temporary. You start to notice that most things aren't personal, they're patterns. You stop drowning in emotion and start directing it. You stop being the puppet and start being the master. That's what detachment does. It doesn't make you less human. It makes you more powerful. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The freedom of detachment. When you detach, you stop trying to control people. You stop begging for closure. You stop chasing validation. You realize something simple. You can care deeply without needing control. You can love without losing your center. You can engage without attachment to outcomes. That's freedom. That's peace. You stop asking, why don't they see my worth? You start saying, my worth doesn't depend on being seen. You stop saying, they hurt me. You start saying, I allowed that energy too close. You stop blaming. You start observing. And observation is power. Because once you can see without reacting, nothing owns you anymore. That's detachment. That's power. It's not coldness, it's clarity. Real-world detachment. Let's make this practical. You get an angry text. You don't reply. You breathe. You wait. You respond when calm, or not at all. That's detachment. You see someone trying to provoke you online. You don't engage. You don't feed the noise. You move on. That's detachment. You feel jealousy rise when someone succeeds. Instead of reacting, you analyze it. What does this show me about what I want? You turn envy into awareness. That's detachment. You get rejected. You don't spiral. You accept it, learn, and redirect. That's detachment. It's a daily discipline, a quiet strength, a calm that can't be manipulated. Because the detached mind doesn't beg for control. It has control. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The emotional weight you drop. When you master detachment, you drop emotional weight. You stop carrying people who refuse to walk. You stop holding on to conversations that should have ended. You stop reliving moments that are already gone. You stop confusing care with suffering. You can still love without losing peace. You can still feel without falling apart. You can still connect without collapsing. That's the difference between reaction and power. You can say, I love you, but I won't lose myself for you. You can say, I'm hurt, but I'll respond when I'm healed. You can say, I care, but I won't collapse. That's strength. That's mastery. Because peace isn't found by avoiding emotion. It's found by mastering it. It's not coldness, it's clarity. The discipline of distance. Sometimes you have to create distance, not because you hate people, but because you love peace. Distance isn't punishment, it's protection. You don't need to announce your detachment. Just move different. React slower. Speak less. Feel fully, but act wisely. You can't heal in the same noise that hurts you. You can't rise if you're tied to everything that falls. So step back. Reclaim your energy. Redefine your focus. Detachment gives you back your strength because you're no longer controlled by what you can't control. That's how you win. The transformation. The old you reacted to everything. The new you watches everything. The old you needed to respond. The new you chooses when to respond. The old you felt powerless. The new you feels peace. That's the difference detachment makes. That's the power of emotional fasting. That's the beauty of the 24-hour discipline. You're no longer ruled by reaction. You're guided by wisdom. You don't suppress emotions, you manage them. You don't fear feelings, you understand them. You don't collapse, you center. Because now you know the truth. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's not distance, it's direction. It's not numbness, it's strength. Closing transition. You've learned how to rise above emotion. You've learned how to pause, how to fast, how to choose space over impulse. You've learned that detachment isn't weakness, it's power. You've stopped drowning in feelings. Now it's time to master something even deeper, the discipline that makes you untouchable in a chaotic world. You've built clarity. Now let's build silence. Next, Chapter 5, The Discipline of Silence.